Have you ever walked into a room and immediately noticed that the air felt heavy? Not because of negative energy, but because two people, even without touching, seems connected by an invisible high-voltage wire. Here is the reality. Chemistry cannot be manufactured. It either exists or it doesn't. But the craziest part is that more often than not, the two people involved are the absolute last ones to admit it, even when it's obvious to everyone else around them. It is frustrating, isn't it? Being around someone and not knowing if that spark you feel is entirely in your head or if it's there actually something deeper happening. Today, we are eliminating that doubt. We're going to decode the 7 definitive signs of intense chemistry, entirely based on neuropsychology and advanced body language. Pay close attention, because signal number 6 is the most lethal of them all. It is the exact threshold that separates a platonic friendship from an inevitable attraction. And if you stay until the very end, I will give you a calculated 5-second psychological trick to instantly confirm if that person feels exact same electricity you do. Welcome to Social Vantage. Let's decode the matrix of human interaction. Signal number 1, magnetic alignment. Let's start with the biological foundation. Our bodies are aggressively honest, even when our mouths attempt to lie. The first indicator is physical alignment. When intense chemistry is present, the bodies of those two individuals act like compasses. They always point north. And in this equation, the other person is north. I'm not just talking about facing each other. I mean the calculated alignment of the shoulders, the pelvis, and most importantly, the feet. In the psychology of body language, the feet are the most honest part of the human body because they are the farthest from the brain, meaning we exercise the least conscious control over them. If you are standing in a group of 6 people and their feet are pointing directly at you while they are actively speaking to someone else, that's it. There is an invisible thread pulling them in. It's as if the rest of the room is just background noise, and there subconsciously only wants a direct path into your personal space. 2. The gaze triangle. This is a classic protocol among seduction experts, but it is backed by a clinical scientific foundation. When you speak to a colleague or a superior, your gaze naturally shifts horizontally from eye to eye. But when intense chemistry takes over, the gaze becomes predatory. It forms a distinct triangle, left eye, right eye, and down to the lips. These micro-expressions occurs almost imperceptibly, lasting less than a second, but the other person's subconscious registers it instantly. Why does this happen? Because the brain is actively evaluating the potential for physical intimacy. If you notice someone's gaze dropping to your mouth while you're discussing something as mundane as the weather, believe me, they aren't interested in the weather. It is a biological sign that the unspoken tension is reaching a breaking point. Signal number 3. Synchronized mirroring. Have you ever noticed that you take a sip of water and exactly 2 seconds later, the person across you does the same? Or you cross your legs and they immediately mirror the posture? This is known as isopraxism, a phenomenon driven entirely by our mirror neurons. While everyone mirrors slightly to blend in socially, when intense chemistry is at play, this synchronization becomes hyper-precise. It's as if both individuals are moving to the exact same rhythm without any music playing. They unconsciously match the tempo of speech, the intensity of the voice, and even the frequency of their blinking. It is the subconscious mind's way of executing a code that says we are identical. If you feel like you're looking at psychological reflection of yourself, chemistry has taken absolute control. Signal number 4. Environmental exclusion. From a psychological perspective, this is one of the most fascinating phenomena. Imagine being inside a chaotic, loud room with music blasting and people shouting, but suddenly it feels like the volume of the world has been turned down. You only hear their voice. You only track their movements. In psychology, we classify this as hyper-focused selective attention. When intense chemistry triggers, The brain aggressively filters out every single stimulus that isn't the other person. This is exactly what outside observers notice when they say, "It looks like no one else exists in this room for them." If someone interrupts you and it genuinely feels like being jolted awake from a dream, or if you completely forget to look at your phone for 3 straight hours, that is not a casual friendship. That is a laboratory-grade chemical connection. The rest of the world simply becomes a blurred background. Signal 5. The charged silence. The vast majority of people are deeply terrified of silence. Around a stranger, 3 seconds of dead air feels like an eternity. Your brain panics, searching for any emergency topic, the weather, traffic, or anything to fill the void. But with someone where the chemistry is undeniable, silence isn't empty space. It's highly pressurized. It is a silence that feels completely secure, yet entirely electric. There is no urgency to speak. You can just exist there, maintaining eye contact or looking away. And the data transfer between you keeps flowing. It's a silence that communicates more than 1,000 words. It's that exact pivot point where the tension is so heavy that talking feels like a distraction. If you can sit in an absolute silence with someone without feeling the marketing need to entertain them, you have stumbled onto something incredibly rare and immensely powerful. Signal 6. The microvoltage touch. Now, we have arrived at the definite signal I promised you at the beginning. Pay close attention here. I'm not talking about overactions like hugs or holding hands. I'm talking about accidents that are entirely calculated by the subconsciousness. It's that brief brush of shoulders while walking, or when passing an object and their fingers linger against yours for a millisecond longer than necessary. What separates raw chemistry from a platonic dynamic is the neurological reaction to that touch. When chemistry is real, that microscopic friction registers like a literal electric shock. Your nervous system sends an immediate alert straight to your brain. But watch the behavioral pattern. Instead of pulling away, you unconsciously engineering another opportunity for it to happen again. If you notice someone finding subtle excuses to breach your perimeter, like adjusting your jacket, clearing a stray thread from your shoulder, or physically comparing their hand size to yours, they are silently screaming that they want to close the gap. It is the physical desire overriding social politeness. Signal 7. Hyper-Reactive emotional resonance. When chemistry locks in, your psychological threshold for humor with that specific person drops drastically. Everything they say suddenly reads as funnier, sharper, and more captivating than it objectively is. You find yourself laughing at their worst jokes, celebrating their micro wins as if they were your own, and becoming hypersensitive to their shifts in mood. If they feel down, you detect it before anyone else in the room. If they step into space carrying stress, your own energy level drops instantly to match theirs. This is a profound level of empathy that only occurs during a deep limbic connection. It's as if your individual nervous system have breached into a single network. If you notice their emotional states are highly contagious to you, in a way that never happens with anyone else, the diagnosis is absolute. The reward: the 5-second personal space audit. As I promised, here's your tactical deployment tool to confirm if this tension is entirely mutual. It is an optimized behavioral experiment called the personal space audit. The next time you are engaged in a fluid conversation with this person, intentionally take one step closer than you usually boundaries dictate. Do not make it aggressive. Simply cross the threshold of standard social distance. Watch their immediate micro-reaction. If they maintain their position or even lean slightly further into your space, the tension is real, validated, and completely reciprocal. However, if they execute a micro step backward or defensively cross their arms, the attraction is likely entirely one-sided. 5 seconds of calculated confidence will yield the precise answer you've been searching for. At the end of the day, chemistry is the raw language of human magnetism. Stop overanalyzing it and start executing on it, because connections like this do not appear every day. If a specific individual was running through your mind during this entire video, you already have your answer. Drop a comment below detailing how many of these specific signals you've detected in your current situation. Which one exposed your dynamic completely? I'll be reading the responses below to analyze your data. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right now if you are ready to stop guessing, master human psychology, and completely elevate your social aura. I will see you in the next breakdown. Peace out.